Katzen, born under the TI333 star sign. Let's take a look at this. Maybe gonna be a decent PSA about art thievery. Let's find out. 'Cause, you know, I had some dude contact me who be like, yeah, look at I have a portfolio. I'm gonna send you in private messages. Put it that way. It's not a good look when an artist has like no portfolio besides the stuff he sends you over Discord private messages. That is not good. It's like, oh yeah, my art is gonna get stolen if I don't tell it. If I don't show you my portfolio privately, it's gonna get stolen. Like, anyway, that's BS. That's BS. And maybe you fall for that one time, but please don't fall for it more than one time, okay? So this is we're looking at a vid by Rev Says Desu now about art theft. The artists attacking Hololive made a huge mistake. Rev Says Desu.
Hey, what's up guys, Rev here. So today I have some updates regarding this video from a few days ago. It's a situation where an artist was not only being impersonated, but also harassed by another user on Twitter. Now, like I said, we have some updates and they are very strange and you don't want to miss them. But before we get into all of it,
I mean, people are brazen about this stuff. Art thieves are brazen nowadays. Like, what people are getting worried about AI and just like, hey, at least people who do AI, probably they're rather transparent about what they do, right? They don't go around pretending being other artists. Like, what?
Now, returning to the last episode of Dragon Ball here involving this situation, to give you a quick recap. So we had a situation where a real artist right here was being impersonated by this user. Worse yet, they were also stealing the artwork from the original artist and then feeding this into generative AI programs to make a product that they were claiming was their own original art, when it was, of course, stolen from the actual artist.
Oh.
Now, this is the art in question that caused all this controversy. The impersonator made this, of course, stealing more art from the original artist. It is a piece here featuring Hololive's Kronii, and originally she would retweet this image and then eventually realized that it was AI generated and said, oh, ew, and then unretweeted it and left this very fair response under the tweet saying this: please tag your art as AI for future reference, because the original post used the official English and Japanese art tags for Kronii, and it shared AI art, which is a big no-no. If you know anything about Hololive, you do not put AI generative material into the official art tags. That's just something they do not want you to do. However, this was the response of this impersonator, basically saying that Cover Corp should look into her and punish her for this very apparently unfair response.
And like, these people who do impersonation, which is what this is basically, I've looked at some of these people and it's like, they're like, oh, poor people can't buy my art. Poor people, those silly poor people. Yeah, like they have this whole vibe. It's like a con art, confidence trick, as they call it. Anyway.
And this would lead to literally dozens of tweets from the impersonator crying about Cover Corp, crying about Kronii, and crying about Hololive in general. And again, all this stemmed from a simple and fair request from Kronii. And
like, you try to create this whole reality in the mind of the person who's like not sure what's going on here. It's like, with your confidence, your feigned confidence, right? So I don't even think this person, this art theft, I don't even think this art theft is like that. It's just a poster they adopt to make money, all right? Like, that's what that is about.
Also during this time, the actual artist would reveal that this has been a very ongoing situation that is...
And they'll be back with a different account, right? Like, they'll be back. They'll get banned and then they'll be back. That's the worst part of it.
Taken place over months, including the fact that this impersonator has been sending them death threats over Gmail. I mean,
like, when I say get a hat for yourself, it's like, that's not what I mean, right? You develop your techniques, your tools, and so on along the lines of coercive and scammy ways, then you have no alternatives eventually but to keep going that way. And so, you know, it's a bad way to go down, right?
It's absolutely insane. But that's where we were up until this video. You are now recapped. Let's see what is happening.
By the way, also applies to the stuff on the globe. Things may not always be what they seem to be. on the global stage. That doesn't mean this or that country is good or bad or whatever, but, you know, live by the sword, die by the sword. It's a bad idea. So get ahead for yourself, and maybe you can be part of something to do with developing the economic forces, right? Even if it's gonna be hard at times.
Happened since then, and it's very, very strange. Now, beginning with the actual artist, good news. We have basically noticed since the last video, they have gained almost 10,000 followers, which is great to see. I love to see people in situations like this get a lot of support, and I'm glad that a lot of you guys I know were able to find this account and give them support and support their art, which is great. And they also got a follow back from Kronii herself, which is
maybe we are gonna be just fine doing the economic thing, the economic competition. Maybe we're just like already pretty deep on a track where a lot of people are trying to tell you stories about how it isn't like that. I'm just saying.
Is a big win. Not only is she supporting the call out of this impersonator, but they're also supporting the actual artist who is being targeted, which is very nice to see. And look how humble they are. They are trying to say that this might have been a misclick follow. No, she actually followed you. She supports you just like everyone else is. So enjoy it. So now let's return to the account of the impersonator and see how they're doing and handling all of the callouts they've been receiving. Well, they haven't been doing very well. In fact, they've been having a lot of meltdowns on Twitter ever since. And to answer a question,
the most gullible people are gonna fall for it, right? So it's a bit of a red flag the way they do it, but it does work on some level. If this guy wanna keep making money with his scam, at least.
You might have.
Okay, maybe he's gonna have to move on to the next account. At least I hope he's gonna do something more productive.
Yes, they saw my video. So this was their response with a screenshot of me censored very poorly. Like they can't even make original art and they can't even censor things properly. Like it's crazy. But they say this in quotes saying, I wonder what they're trying to achieve by
That's a red flag too.
mentioning names and saying things like the illustrator is jealous of the illustrator's popularity. It's
Although I will say in their defense, we live in a society, in a moment where people with a lot of money are holding people like that close to themselves with like, what is it, like Sweet Baby Inc. and stuff, right? Like you have this normalization of this kind of dysfunctional, like, oh, I'm right and they are wrong, sort of like thuggish mentality, right? So there is this from above, this affirmation of this dysfunctional way of engaging with critique.
laughable. I'm not quite sure what they're trying to quote me on here, but one thing I do know is that this tweet is not doing great. In fact, this is kind of spectacular in its own way. This tweet has 37,000 views and not a single like.
What?
That is actually impressive.
Yep.
37,000 people have seen this tweet and scrolled past it without liking it. Not a single one. That is crazy, by the way. But we would even see people in the quotes doing the classic, I hate Rev, but you know you really messed up when people say the, I hate Rev, but he has a point here. So this user said, normally I hate Rev with a fiery passion, but a severely broken clock is at least right once every few years. You effing suck. Well, I'm glad you have a fiery passion for me. But anyways, I'm glad also that I could be right for the first time in a few years. I'm glad this was my big moment, and I really appreciate
good
the
for
compliment
them.
here. But moving on, here are some of their further responses.
When people show some strong opinions about random people, or not so random people, but like, come on, he's just one dude on the internet.
From the impersonator here, saying some very wild stuff. Let me read these back-to-back tweets. So it says this. If I had been a strategist during the Pacific War, I could have defeated America. The
What?
next one says, the reason for your defeat is that you didn't know that Japanese people can lie with all of their might. This is what Japanese people are like.
What?
I mean, this isn't even just racism. This is like deep, advanced, ancestral levels of racism against not only Americans, but also the Japanese. Because
It's pretty bad. And I don't even know if this guy means it. Alright? But it sure is something he would say to keep his confidence game going. Right? And that's just awful.
believe this user is Chinese. So yeah, they're really not handling this all well, talking like some chuny.
And I wouldn't know that.
war general
This is wild.
here wanting to go back in time and defeat the Americans in the Pacific War. But anyways, let's keep looking here. So they've doubled and tripled and quadrupled down on this whole situation. In fact, this is their pinned tweet right now with a image of Kronii. And of course, it gets community noted like everything else they're doing. But apparently this article, and I would not click on any of their links they're sending, by the way, do not click on any of the links they're sharing. But apparently this is some sort of a quote unquote apology that is definitely not an apology. We had some people translate what they were saying in this message. This user saying, to the people abroad, his note is not an apology, but an insult to the artists involved in Hololive, the members of Hololive, and even the president of Hololive. And basically they would go into a long thread sharing everything that they're saying. You can check it out for yourself if you want to, but basically they're just like spurging out. Like they're going crazy, making wild accusations against Hololive and trying to demonize them and attack them. It's very, very strange. It's actually like hard to understand what they're saying because clearly they're not exactly in the best headspace as they're typing this out. But anyways, they would continue the shamelessness by making AI generated versions of Gura, and of course, learning absolutely nothing, would use the official Gura art tag, which led to them getting clowned on even more. And if that wasn't enough, then they made some AI art, more stolen assets, by the way, to feed into their AI program.
And you know, sometimes when I feel a little conspiratorial, I'm thinking maybe there's like a method to the madness, right? Maybe it's not just some confidence game. Maybe this is a concerted effort to create an environment around a rival company, in this case, Hololive, by competitors or like other, like broader, more abstract competitors, like people who don't like VTubers in general. Like, you know, this could be a concerted effort to poo-poo the space as such, right? Or maybe progress some other weird agenda about AI being bad or something, or like people shouldn't use AI art because like look at this guy. Like, no, this is not a problem with AI art. This is a problem with a con artist who act like a con artist.
Of fauna, and I don't know if the saplings are going to take this sitting down. I mean, you're messing with a lot of very protective fan bases here, but you can see the replies. I mean, people are exposing the absolute obvious nature of this AI artwork they're making here, where there's mistakes all over the place. But honestly, you don't really have to look that hard. Always just look at the hands. That's all you got to do if you want to determine if something is AI generated or not. Just take a quick peek at the hands, and typically you get a monstrosity like this. And it's very obvious that this was, of course, some AI generated artwork. And of course, still stealing art from the original artist to feed. And
art's just a pet peeve of mine, but when I look at pictures for certain reasons, I look for story. And AI doesn't really tell stories in pictures.
Into these AI programs. And a lot of people were also clowning on them for the fact that they're spending all of this time crying on Twitter and making AI when they could just pick up a pencil and start to learn art. Like, this PewDiePie meme is very correct. Like, we know that people can do this if they actually apply themselves. PewDiePie showed that.
And by the way, having artistic skills developed is gonna be useful for using AI as more of a filter than anything, right? Like, so there's plenty of things you can do better to do with art if you develop your metaphoric art muscle, you know? So yeah, it's just a trade-off between other things you could be doing, right? So
I mean, not everyone can achieve the fast learning that he did, but he taught himself how to draw by simply practicing. And really, the majority of his journey involved practicing art for about 10 to 15 minutes a day, and he saw amazing results. So to all these people who are...
What about the amount of time, like, developing the process that makes you, like, not just try to draw from imagination? Because that's a big trap that people run into. Also because it's convenient. Like, it's the lazy way to quote-unquote learn drawing, is to just draw from imagination, right? So it's an easy trap to fall into because it's for the lazy mind. So anyway, I'm just saying.
So hell-bent on making AI and that they have no way of actually making art. Like, it can be done, you just don't want to do it. Instead, you spend all of your time complaining about artists and leeching off of them when you could just learn for yourself and avoid all of these problems and all the drama that comes with making AI for groups like Hololive and things like that, who clearly aren't very receptive of it, or at the very least don't want you using their official art tags to promote AI like this user has been. So moving forward, here was another statement they made saying, to all the anti-AI folks overseas, please go ahead and share your thoughts on how you fell for the trap I set. Hook, line, and sinker.
What?
So basically they're saying, like, I was only pretending to be stupid this whole time. The classic defense to being called out. No, this is not a...
He got 6 likes though, see? He got 6 likes. He's got his people roped in, although like 3 of them at least are probably his own accounts, but you know what I mean. Oh my lord.
Trap that they set. They just got
Keeps going with the confidence game.
Exposed on many levels, and they're trying their best to cope with this whole situation, and it's not going well. And also to point this out, because it's definitely very relevant when it comes to Twitter, this person is not a Twitter Blue subscriber, meaning they don't have ad revenue sharing, so they are quite literally doing this for attention. And the attention they're getting is not even good because nobody's actually following. Like, no one wants the AI images. People are just clowning on it, and they're getting hit with a million notes. And also, I know a lot of people are reporting their account for many different reasons at this point, beyond just impersonation. Also, some of the threatening tweets that they've been making. But yeah, not a very good response. Now, we've seen the updates with the impersonator. We saw some of the updates with the real artist, but let's return to the latest statement from the real artist, saying this: I am the real deal. I apologize for the long-standing inconvenience caused by the impersonation incident. Many friends and others have reached out to me, and I am slowly regaining strength. So please, rest assured, thank you for your kind words. And they've been very, very nice during this whole situation. Obviously, it's been going on for months and months.
And you know what? I will say this meme that you just got to learn to draw for yourself is like, it's tricky because look at this person. They have a totally different posture compared to this the con artist. And so you got to ask yourself, who do you want to be? Well, maybe the con artist in this actually makes an interesting pitch. Again, I think you should make your money fair and square or whatever, like get ahead economically, but it's complicated, and so not everyone's cut out to be an artist and like actually make money off of it. Like PewDiePie is a content creator on YouTube, and sure, he learned to draw because he knows how to do things. It's easy to say just like learn to draw yourself, and it's like, I mean, I don't think this guy impersonator here has any intention of being an artist. I don't think that's what they're trying to do. They actually learn a couple of other skills. Kind of scummy skills, yeah. Live by the sword, die by the sword. But it's like, okay, like sometimes that's rewarded in this society and this world. Can't we give people like better pathways to participate in society? We wanna like not just be some meek artist who's gonna be like, oh, I'm so sorry, the impersonator. I'm so sorry about this dude who's totally not me. I'm so sorry about them. Like, what? Like, it's not your job to be sorry about like people impersonating you. Not everyone wants to be that person, right? And I'm not saying it's a bad thing to be that person.
And they're dealing with a very unhinged person, but they've been nothing but polite and respectful and honest and really apologetic when they don't need to be. Like, you don't have to apologize for tweeting about this situation or bringing attention to it. It's your right as an artist. This shouldn't be happening to you. You're the victim in this situation. Now, I want to take a little shift here from the other conversations we had to focus on some news involving Hololive, since their talents have been subject to this AI stuff that we've been covering earlier in this video. So people have pointed out some new quotes here from CoverCorp saying,
do I want to look at that? Let's go through it fast.
Yo, actually huge, too long didn't read. Cover has stated, I guess, that there will be no more new Hololive generations until the current ones retire. They're aiming to maximize the reach of the current ones.
I think the main issue here is it's all kind of samey, right? Like, it's just a reskin. And yeah, sure, you get different personalities, but it's the personality-based product. If VTubing truly is supposed to be the future of YouTubing, which I'm kind of 50-50 on it. It could actually be. But like then the corporate VTubers, maybe they should also get into different topics sometime. Like, I'm not saying they should run a news show. That's not gonna happen anytime soon, but you could work with brands and have a brand VTuber. Right? Whatever you can sell, you can have a VTuber with it. And things you can't sell, there's also ways to make that work, right? There's so many things. Many things that could be done.
Overwhelming to the average fan, and it diverts their attention, their interest, and their money to many different areas. But I think this is a great decision, and I definitely want to cover this real quick. I thought it was pretty interesting. I know a lot of you guys will find it interesting too, but that is going to do it for this video. As always, I appreciate you guys giving a listen today, and feel free to leave your thoughts about today's topics in the comments section down below. Hope you guys enjoyed the video, and I'll see you next time.
Alrighty, that was pretty good. Do comment, rate, share. Think about sharing with somebody who may disagree with you. Just add some weight to your social media. Low friction interactions. You don't have to do that, of course, but you know, I do want you to get ahead for yourself as well. I'm not just all about getting you to watch my videos and whatnot, although that's nice too. Anyway, I'll link this below and leave all the good stuff over there and over here. Stay safe, have a good one. Hope we meet again. Meow.